Hey there everyone, welcome back. Creating masculine cards or non-floral themed cards doesn't have to require so much brain power. After watching this video tutorial, you'll see how easy it is to craft your own cards with a basic understanding of a few artistic elements. Before we get into today's project, make sure you subscribe to the Altenew channel for more card making and paper crafting tutorials. My Perfect Pairings with Jaycee series explores crafting techniques that effortlessly blend sure-to-love new releases and well-loved Altenew favorites. If you love these kinds of crafty tutorials, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of my videos airing on the second and fourth Sunday. To start this first card, I'm going to use a heavyweight panel of Nina Solar White. This is 110 pounds, but any white solid cardstock will do. To make things easy with my ink application, I'm going to use my 7.5-inch square sticky matte grid and inlay that solid white cardstock. Then with a piece of satin masking tape or with another panel of white cardstock, whatever will give you a nice clean edge. I'm going to overlay this on top of my white cardstock panel. Maybe in my case, I'll use a piece of satin masking tape just to hold it down. I'm going to apply blocks of color onto this white cardstock panel. And to do this, I'm just going to stick to the Amy Tangerine collection of inks. And without using a bunch of tools, I'm going to use a direct-to-paper inking technique. So if you want to, you can use your Altenew mini ink blending tools, your large ink blending tools, but I'm just going to create some quick swipes of this color, making sure that I get the texture of the ink pad, and just create some interesting lines and apply some ink onto this panel, just like that. Then I'll move this mask sheet down just a little bit and create another line. And I'll offset this just a little bit, like that. I'll move down to Let Us Celebrate and repeat that motion. Quick swipe of color down the panel. Again, move this down the panel, creating some sort of irregular pattern, and heavily apply this ink in a line. Then lastly, I'll grab Ride the Wave and apply this to the remaining exposed bottom portion of this panel. If you want to, you can add a few more lines. I think I'm just going to go a little bit higher on my white cardstock base, and I'll grab Lemonade Stand again and apply an even lighter application of this ink up here so that it appears it's a different color. But really, I just want a different saturation of Lemonade Stand. I'll even do the same down here with Let Us Celebrate. I want to create a more steep angle this time. Just doing a lighter swipe of Let Us Celebrate on this portion down here. And then I move the panel down just a little bit again on a different angle. And this time I'm using Easy Breezy. I'm going to apply one more layer of Ride the Wave, just on this bottom triangle here that I masked off, really trying to intensify that line of ink. All right, so we've got a really nice abstract geometric background. And the whole purpose of this was to just create some interesting blocks of texture and also create some lines on this background. I think with non-floral cards, it's fun to experiment with different shapes. As you can see, we're getting a lot of different triangles. And again, triangles are made out of lines, so you get some nice interesting lines that help your recipient move down the card. And then depending on the colors that you have at home, you can either tailor them to your recipient, or in this case, I just moved down in analogous colors. So these colors are next to each other on the color wheel: yellow, green, a bluish green, and then blue. And by using line, shape, and color, you can create a really interesting foundation for some of your non-floral or masculine cards. Let's take this panel a step further with the fine liner pens or flex calligraphy pen sets. If you have the Essential Permanent Marker set, this works just as well. Even the Altenew Artist Markers, whatever you have that will give you a variety of lines. And we can really create a nice, interesting pattern background for your non-floral or masculine themed card. For now, I'm just going to clean off my sticky mat grid real quick. For me, I'm going to just use a ruler and the 05 fine liner pen. And just as I did with the ink, at random angles, I'm going to use the ruler and create a variety of lines. So solid lines, maybe down here, I'll do some dashed lines, just like that. Maybe this next one, I'll do some evenly spaced dotted lines. And if you recreate this card at home, you can even switch it up and use the Altenew artist markers in coordinating or analogous color inks, just so that you get a slightly different look than mine. And not too much, just something to create a little bit of interest and also play with the angles on this background. Then in your Altenew stash, I encourage you to look for die sets or sentiment sets that have a really bold typeface. The Timeless Sentiments collection, so I have the second one, but the Timeless Sentiments collection is what I'm talking about, that really bold and outstanding sort of font. And I like this because it has the offset die cut as well. And we can do some really interesting techniques to incorporate some texture onto this card. So in my card, I'm deciding to use the Have a Good Day sentiment, this one right here. I feel like the Have a Good Day sentiment is just a really great catch-all for many different occasions. Birthdays, if you want to congratulate somebody, and this is all you have, this is just a nice way to do so for a non-floral themed card. And what I want to do is center the offset die cut onto my angular background. So I'm using my Altenew cutting mat to get this centered on here. And then I'll take it to my die cutting machine to cut out the shape. After running this through my die cutting machine, I'm going to remove the positive, negative pieces. So here's my negative piece. This one will be my positive piece. And before I do anything further with this sentiment, I'm going to set this to the side, and I want to add splatter to the back of this one. So I'm going to use Altenew's Jet Black ink spray and a water brush just to give this card more of that handmade feeling. And then while this is drying, I can work on my sentiment. I'll bring back that positive piece that I set aside earlier. And off camera, I have already glued a few stacks of the positive sentiment die cut. And now I can add the letters to my angular inked background. And after assembling my sentiment, I can return it to my background. But before I glue everything down, I just need my folded note card base. I like to use a side folding portrait orientation A2 size card base. I'll add my angular background to my folded note card. Then with some Altenew foam tape on the back of my stacked sentiment, I will inlay this on top of my angular inked background. And that will finish this first example of how to use line, color, and shape, and just a little bit of texture to create a really interesting masculine or non-floral themed card. And all you have to do to customize it is switch up the color palette, use ink blending tools if you want to, and look in your stash for a really bold but simple sentiment. For this next example, I'm going to grab the Festive Triangles Silhouette stamp set. This stamp set does have a coordinating better press plate, and you can certainly recreate this card with either. Now, I grabbed this bundle from the July 2025 release because I wanted to encourage you to look at your geometric or some of your shape stamps differently, and we can change it for a different occasion. So in my stamp wheel, and like I mentioned, I'm using Festive Triangles. I'm going to use the stamp set for this example. But in my stamp wheel, I'm going to center another panel of that white cardstock. And this will create the foundation of what I want to do next on this card. I want to create this radial arrangement on my background. So it'll act as my focal piece, as well as the background element on my card. And by using the radial lines on my Altenew flip plate, I'm going to center this image as best as I can, just along this vertical line here. To keep things really simple with the color palette of this card, I'm going to use Evening Gray Fresh Dye ink and repeat stamp this image in a radial pattern. I'll alternate between Evening Gray and Morning Frost just to create some interest on this background. So I'm going clockwise on my image, Again, this was Morning Frost. I'll move to the next tooth of the flip plate, ink up this image in Evening Gray, and stamp that in the next open area of my panel. Move to the next tooth of the flip plate and stamp in Morning Frost. And after stamping this image 16 times in the round, I'm left with this radial starburst pattern. To make things easy for the next step, I'm actually going to switch over to the grid stamp wheel flip plate and add that to my platform. And then back to the festive triangle silhouette stamp set, I'm going to grab the letters A, C, and E. And after ensuring that these letters are straight horizontally on my background, I'm going to pick up the stamps and stamp the sentiment in Altenew Obsidian pigment ink directly to the center of this panel. So then after stamping my ace sentiment to the center of this panel, I'm going to add this little sentiment banner. This is from the One Go Solid Sentiment Strips die set, as well as the One Go Solid Sentiment Strips 2 press plate. This press plate has a lot of congratulatory themed sentiments on it. And I use the new 6.5 by 8.5 inch storage pockets to keep any of the extra sentiments close by for when I need them. Just like the previous card, I'll use jet black ink spray and a fine water brush to add just a little bit of splatter to the background without completely obscuring my nice little pattern that I made. Then I foam mounted the You Did It sentiment underneath my ace stamp. Then to add a little bit of tactile texture to this card, I'll use the Cool Summer Night enamel dot set, and I want these star images to surround my very simple card. So then after adding this to my folded note card base, that finishes this second example of how to use a few elements to create some non-floral or masculine themed cards. So I'm looking at line, shape, a very simple color palette, and also some tactile texture with the enamel dots. It's so easy to incorporate these really simple themes into your next non-floral or masculine themed projects. And if you do give this a try, please make sure to tag me at jaycee.gaspar and at Altenew LLC. I'd love to take a look at how you mastered these really simple elements. My series encourages you to shop your existing Altenew stash and rekindle their love with newer releases. Perfect Pairings with Jaycee airs on the Altenew channel every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Perfect Pairing episode with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Wait, we have more where that came from. If you're after fabulous card making tutorials, you are definitely in the right spot. Our amazing design team create and upload fabulous video tutorials right to this YouTube channel. If you don't want to miss another amazing crafting tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and click that fun red button that you can see. Let's become paper crafting experts together.